Welcome back to the Living HopeCast. We're diving into Kristy Barnes' testimony from this past Sunday, February 9th, here at Living Hope. Her vulnerability and honesty were just so moving.
They were.
And we want to take some time to unpack the powerful themes she shared.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want to experience the full impact of her story,
Yes.
we've got a link to the video in the description.
I did.
You can find it on the church website, YouTube, Facebook, and the church app.
It's true. What really struck me was how Kristy framed her life as a journey through different chapters, each marked by both challenges and triumphs. She didn't shy away from the difficult parts, starting with her upbringing with alcoholic parents and the impact of her absent father.
You could feel the weight of those early years.
Yes.
As she spoke about them, especially the feelings of unworthiness and the constant search for belonging.
And it's remarkable how she connected those early experiences to later struggles, the yearning for love and acceptance, the feeling of not being good enough. These themes resonated throughout her story.
Right.
She also spoke about her ADHD and the trauma of sexual abuse.
Wow.
And how those experiences further shaped her self-perception and relationships.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to hear how those events impacted her, especially as a young girl.
Yes.
But even in those dark moments, she found glimmers of hope, right? Like how she excelled in sports throughout school. It was clear that athletics provided a sense of accomplishment and helped her build some confidence.
Absolutely. Sports became a place where she could channel her energy and find a sense of identity.
Right.
But even with those external achievements, she was still wrestling with internal wounds. She spoke about her struggles with an eating disorder and how those destructive coping mechanisms took hold.
It's so true.
It highlighted the fact that sometimes external success can't fully address the deeper pain we carry inside.
That's such a powerful insight. It makes you think about the ways we try to find fulfillment and how those efforts can sometimes lead us down the wrong paths.
Yeah.
But then she talked about this pivotal moment, a very serious encounter with God during a suicide attempt.
Oh, wow.
She described feeling his presence and ultimately being saved.
Yes.
It was a profound turning point in her story.
It was, but what's interesting is that even after that experience, she still struggled with understanding God's grace.
Really?
She spoke about a period of what she called legalism.
Okay.
Where she felt like God's love was conditional, like she had to be perfect to earn his favor.
That's so relatable, isn't it? That struggle to reconcile our imperfections
It is.
with the idea of a loving God. You can feel like we're constantly striving to measure up, never quite feeling good enough.
Exactly. And for Kristy, this legalistic mindset led to a lot of internal conflict. She was trying to control everything to make herself worthy of God's love through her actions. But it wasn't until her own daughter faced a similar battle with an eating disorder that Kristy's understanding of faith truly shifted.
It's almost as if that experience forced her to confront her own deeply held beliefs about God's grace. It must have been incredibly challenging to watch her daughter go through something so similar to what she had experienced.
It was a turning point for her, not just as a mother, but also in her faith journey. She realized that faith isn't about earning God's love. It's about trusting in his sovereignty. Even when we don't understand why things are happening.
It's hard.
It's about surrendering control and embracing the mystery of God's plan.
Wow.
Even in the midst of pain and suffering.
That's a powerful realization, and it makes you think about the ways our own trials can lead to spiritual growth.
Yes.
Sometimes it's in those moments of deepest pain that we discover the true depth of God's grace.
Absolutely. And it's often through those challenges that we learn to let go of our need to control everything and simply trust in God's goodness, even when it doesn't make sense to us.
And you know, another powerful aspect of Kristy's testimony was her journey of forgiveness.
Yes.
Particularly with her mother. She spoke about how she had to let go of the hurt and resentment she felt towards her mom for not being the parent she needed.
Forgiveness is such a complex and challenging topic.
It is.
It doesn't erase the pain of the past,
right?
But it does free us from the bitterness and anger that can hold us captive.
Yeah.
It allows us to move forward with our lives and to experience true healing.
And in Kristy's case, forgiveness wasn't just a one-time event.
Right.
It was a process, a journey that ultimately led her to become her mother's caregiver.
Wow.
In the final stages of her life. It's such a powerful testament to the transformation she had undergone.
It really highlights the redemptive power of forgiveness.
Yeah.
She came full circle, finding a way to honor her mother and to experience a sense of closure, despite the complexities of their relationship. It's a reminder that even in the midst of brokenness, there's always the possibility of healing and reconciliation.
And then there was this incredibly powerful moment.
Yeah.
Where she talked about feeling like she was disqualified from spiritual gifts because she hadn't spoken in tongues. It's like we create these arbitrary checklists.
Right.
And if we don't tick every box, we feel like we're somehow less than or unworthy.
It's a common struggle.
It is.
And it speaks to the dangers of legalism.
Yeah.
We can get so focused on outward appearances and performance that we miss the heart of what it means to follow Christ. It's about relationship, not ritual, about love and grace, not checklists and accomplishments.
Exactly. And, you know, Pastor Jeremy addressed this beautifully in his response to Kristy's testimony.
He did.
He directly refuted that notion of disqualification, emphasizing that God's acceptance isn't based on our abilities or achievements.
It's not.
But on our willingness to open our hearts to Him. It was a powerful moment of pastoral leadership.
It was.
Gently correcting a harmful misconception.
Right.
And affirming Kristy's worth in the eyes of God.
It was a beautiful reminder that true spiritual leadership involves guiding people towards a deeper understanding of God's love and grace, one that is rooted in acceptance and wholeness, not judgment and exclusion.
And then there was that incredibly moving moment when Pastor Jeremy, along with many of the other men in the church, stood up and apologized to Kristy for the abuse she suffered as a young girl.
Yeah.
It was such a profound act of collective repentance, acknowledging the ways in which men have failed to protect women and children.
That moment was incredibly powerful. It wasn't just about words. It was about taking responsibility. It was about recognizing the pain that had been inflicted and committing to creating a safer, more just world. And it was especially meaningful because it was a collective act. The men in the congregation stood together, demonstrating their solidarity and their commitment to being protectors and allies.
It really felt like a turning point.
It was.
Like a step towards healing, not just for Kristy, but for the entire community. What was also amazing was how the congregation responded to her story. People were so moved by her vulnerability and honesty.
I know.
You could feel the love and support pouring out.
It was a beautiful example of the church living out its calling to be a place of refuge, healing, and support.
Yeah.
It showed that true community isn't about pretending to be perfect.
Right.
It's about showing up for each other in our brokenness and celebrating the transformative power of grace.
Yes. And there was this other part of Kristy's testimony that really struck me.
Yeah.
She talked about feeling like she was breaking generational curses.
Wow.
Especially in how she's raising her own children.
That's a powerful concept. It speaks to the idea that our choices have ripple effects, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of those who come after us.
She shared this sweet anecdote about her granddaughter learning a memory verse, and you could see the pride and hope in her eyes. It was like she was saying, this is what it looks like to break free from the pain of the past and to build a legacy of faith and resilience for future generations.
It's a beautiful illustration of how our faith journeys can impact those around us.
Right.
It's about planting seeds of hope and love that will continue to grow and flourish long after we're gone.
You know, thinking back on everything Kristy shared, it seems like her core message was this: God's grace is limitless. There's no sin He won't forgive.
Wow.
And He desperately desires a personal relationship with each of us.
That's a message that resonates deeply.
It does.
Especially in a world that often feels so divided and judgmental. It's a reminder that we are all loved and accepted just as we are, flaws and all.
And that's the beauty of a testimony like Kristy's. It doesn't shy away from the messiness of life. It embraces it. It reminds us that we're all on a journey. And it's okay to stumble and fall as long as we keep getting back up and reaching for the light.
Exactly.
It's a testament to the power of vulnerability, the courage it takes to share our stories, and the healing that can occur when we do.
Wow.
It's an invitation to let go of shame, embrace forgiveness, and step into the fullness of who we were created to be.
What stood out to you most from Kristy's testimony?
Oh, that's tough.
Was there a particular moment or message that resonated deeply with you?
For me, it was the way she described that shift from legalism to grace. She went from feeling like she constantly had to earn God's love to realizing she could simply rest in his unconditional acceptance. It's a journey that so many of us face.
It is.
And to see her embrace that freedom was truly inspiring.
I agree.
And I was also deeply touched by her courage to be so vulnerable, to share such personal and painful experiences with the entire congregation. It reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles.
Right.
There's power in sharing our stories, and it opens the door for others to do the same.
Absolutely. When we share our stories, we create space for others to share theirs. And in that shared vulnerability, we find healing and connection.
So reflecting on all of this,
Yeah.
what do you think Kristy's story offers us as listeners?
That's a good question.
What can we take away from her journey?
I think her story reminds us that no matter what we've been through, no matter how broken or unworthy we may feel, God's grace is always available to us.
I love that. It's never too late to experience that grace.
It's not.
And to step into the fullness of who we were created to be.
It's true. And Kristy's journey also makes us think about the legacy we're building.
Right.
The impact our choices have on future generations. Are we creating a world where our children and grandchildren feel loved, supported, and empowered to live out their faith authentically?
That's a powerful question.
Yeah.
It reminds us that our faith journeys aren't just about personal transformation. They're about impacting the world around us and leaving a legacy of love, grace, and hope.
It's about planting seeds of kindness and compassion that will continue to grow long after we're gone.
And as we wrap up our deep dive into Kristy's testimony,
Yes.
I want to leave you with this thought. What's one small step you can take this week to extend grace to someone who may be struggling?
Yeah.
It could be a simple act of kindness, a listening ear, or a word of encouragement.
Remember, we all have a story to tell. And sometimes the greatest gift we can offer each other is the space to be heard, to be seen, and to be loved without judgment.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Kristy Barnes' powerful testimony. Don't forget to check out the full video for even more inspiration. Until next time, keep seeking truth.
Yes.
Keep spreading love and keep living out your faith in bold and beautiful ways.